What's up, YouTube? This is Giant Above 3 here. I made a stadium tier list for Drunken Queen's powers. If you want to go to this URL, or I'll probably post it in the description below. Just as some background and some caveats. So I am a Drunken Queen player. If I go to all modes and I show how much time I have about 300 hours, which some people might say is a lot. Some people might say it's weak. It's up to you, whatever. In Stadium, I have played her for 23 hours since the beginning of the season, and I have gone to Pro 3. I'm still climbing. And if I go to competitive, I am around Diamond 2 PC, so I get a lot of Diamond and Masters players in my games. If you are a lower ranked player or a higher ranked player or a console player, this tier list may not pertain to you. Take it with a grain of salt. I am just giving my opinion and my experiences. Plus, I've versed some people who swear by some of these powers, and I swear they're not good. But to each their own. But we're going to go in order from top left to bottom right. So first one is Thrill of Battle. I'm going to put this guy in niche. Thrill of Battle basically says whenever you get Adrenaline Rush healing, your nearby teammates also get a portion of that. That sounds pretty nice, but there are some issues with this. One, your teammates have to be close by. Two, if you get the final kill, you get that Adrenaline Rush rest of the health, but your teammates don't. So if you're going for like a one-shot build, that's probably not good for you. But I will say a huge buff of this is that it counts as healing, and you get your ult charge really fast. And I want to say you get a lot more cash that way. I could be wrong. Please someone fact check me on that. But don't quote me. Really, if you're going for like a sustained build, you're not really killing things. You're just kind of like trying to outlast things, and it usually ends up not working out. So I actually don't recommend this, but if you want to go for it, I can see it being an option. Royal Bullets. I almost always pick this guy. Now, Royal Bullets says whenever you shoot someone in the head, which is actually way easier than you think it might be. Let me actually go ahead and show that off. If I were to pick Royal Bullets right now, this is me like barely aiming for their head. And you'll see that I just wounded them. Right? So any part of your gun, and you have to be like within a certain distance, that's fine. I think it's like, yeah, that counts, right? If you get this round one, it ends up usually giving you a lot of healing round one, and so you end up with like a lot of cash. Plus, this helps you kill out those like long range targets. Because if it's like a Geno flying above you, you kind of just shoot around her head area. You get her. She's now wounded. Doesn't get the passive healing. But also, there's ways to like take advantage of Royal Bullets. And if I go show you like Bloodhound Mask, this one says for every nearby wounded person, which there are ways to do this, you get more weapon power. And so like it's really easy to get about like 30% weapon power at all times just from this guy alone. This guy says whenever you wound a target, you gain an attack speed buff, which like if you're shooting him in the head constantly, you're just constantly wounding people. Advanced Antibiotic says whenever you heal an ally, which fun fact, you yourself are an ally, and wound heals you, you gain an attack speed. So there's just a lot that like goes with this. My favorite one is even if you're going for a mixed build with Royal Bullets, you can still go Super Flexor, which gives you a weapon power buff, but also whenever you do weapon damage or healing, you gain 5% ability power. And so let's say you click on this guy and you shoot someone, you'll see that I go up to 5 like after like 4-ish seconds, right? But if you add Royal Bullets and you get one headshot, you instantly go to 5 because every tick of wound that happens counts as a weapon damage or healing or whatever. So really great. Recommend it. Try it out. And I can show off a few ways that I do those builds later, but that's not what this video is about. Twist the Knife. Now, I have versed some people who swear by this one, but I think it's niche. I think that if you are shooting someone and you can get that kill really quickly. You kind of get the healing, but like I don't know. I it extends the time. It doesn't increase the healing per second. So if you can get the kills, great. But I would rather go for abilities that can get me those eliminations. Because the more you eliminate, the less damage the enemy team can put on the board, and the more damage your team can put on the board because they're not healing as much. So I'm gonna put it as niche. Some people might say viable option, or maybe even always pick, depending on like their builds. Yeah, I'm just gonna move on from there. Blade Parade. I have tried so hard to make this guy viable. The only way I have found this guy to be viable is if I go like round 1, Let's Go Win, round 2, Merciless Magnetism, and round 3, Blade Parade. Or I guess round 1, round 3, round 5, my bad. But like by that point, it's kind of like deep in, and they're kind of already knowing what you're going for. The reason why I say this is because I want to say on average, people hit about 30 or maybe 50% of their jagged blades. And if you're hitting it on like the tank, that's not the point of this build. Merciless Magnetism is made to help you hit those small squishy characters. And if you can get a fully charged Blade Parade with a bunch of ability power, and then Let's Go Win, you can more or less like one-shot and steamroll the enemy team. But this is up to round 5. If you get to here, and if you pick these two, you've kind of already committed to the bit. You could also go like Reckoner's Roar, which ability power already helps you out with Jagged Blade anyway. So I just don't see Blade Parade being all that great. For me, that's why I'm going to put it in niche. It could be a viable option, but that's if you like hard commit to that build. So I'm just not a fan. Cut 'em Up Gracie is a never pick in my opinion. It says basically if you miss your hit, you get Gracie back faster. Just don't miss, and you get 0 benefit out of this. And like also if you miss, you still have to aim it so that the return part actually hits someone, and the cooldown reduction is only 1 second. This might be more viable if it was like cuts the cooldown in half or by 3 seconds, by hitting even just one person. But other than like the return hit does like no damage at all, right? I never use Cut 'em Up Gracie. I have tried. It is not worth it. Avoid it if you can. I would rather them just rework this entirely and get rid of it rather than buff it up. So like if they made it so that like whenever you hit a jagged blade something happens, like maybe like you do like the Ramatra Vortex kind of effect on like that one single person, that would be amazing. But I just don't see this cooldown reduction being helpful like at all, especially since like if you're gonna go for a jagged blade cooldown reduction, you're probably gonna go like Merciless Magnetism, Let's Go Win, maybe even like Blade Parade or like Reckoner's Roar. I just don't see this being used. Let's Go Win. Super viable option, possibly even an almost pick, but I'm going to put it in a viable option. Now, I have gone games without Let's Go Win. If you go something like Royal Bullets, Reckoner's Roar, Merciless Magnetism, or like, Bow Down or something like that, or you even go like Chop Chop, Reckoner's Roar, Blood Craze, Soaring Stone, something like that. I have gone builds without Let's Go Win. Let's Go Win is nice if you can secure those kills, and there's a lot of combinations with this. I'm actually even debating on putting it in almost pick, but I will put it in viable option. Because if you are going for a Carnage build, you might not go for Let's Go Win. But yeah, it's really freaking good. I do encourage people to use it, and like there's a lot of ways to abuse this. For example, if they have a Kiriko on the enemy team and they have that one teleporting one that's like whenever you teleport as Kiriko, you make a clone, kill the clone and you get your shout back. And if you combine like Let's Go Win with like Undying Loyalty, every time you kill that Kiriko clone, you get healing back, which gets you ult charge, which gets you cash. You can also combine it with like Reckoner's Roar or something like that. You can combine it with Booming Voice. It's really good. I can't see people not using it. That's why I'm putting it in viable option. Merciless Magnetism is a viable option, and I think it's super underrated. People might think it's niche. I think it's a viable option. If they have a Mercy, a Freya, a Juno, or a Lucio, you can pull all of those guys out of the air, or in Lucio's case, off the wall, and completely slow them down, and even secure the elimination. So what I recommend for Merciless Magnetism is go Mark of Kitsune. So after you use your Jagged Blade, your gunshot will scale a little bit based off of the ability power, and you can possibly even one-shot things. It's so good. And if you're going this, I also recommend Super Flexor and also going like Royal Bullets. So like a viable like round 1 is like Merciless Magnetism, round 3, Let's Go In, round 5, Royal Bullets, or even, if not Royal Bullets, you can go Reckoner's Roar. So that way, whenever you shout, you can deal damage to them, shoot them once, Merciless Magnetism, pull them, shoot them again, and then they should be dead. It's pretty freaking strong. So I do recommend trying it out. Reckoner's Roar, to me, is an always pick. Now, you might be like, why is Reckoner's Roar an always pick, and Let's Go Win is only a viable option? So, Reckoner's Roar, even if you don't care for the shout, right? This guy works with a Bloodhound Mask to wound everyone around you. It also works with, under Survival, if you go Rebellious Spirit, and like they have a Zarya, Mei, Kiriko thing, you can get so much maximum health over health back that it just feels like you just don't die. Though I do recommend, if you go something like this, also invest in something that does damage reduction, so that way you can keep that over health. Like for example, like what is it, Crusaders, Hydraulics, whatever. And then where is that other one? I think it's under ability. Lumerico, I don't know how to pronounce that. Fusion Drive, which says whenever you use an ability, restore 50 armor or shields. That way, just like there's a constant amount of armor on you at all times. So there's just so much you can play with Reckoner's Roar that I almost always pick this. Actually, I can't think of a time where I didn't pick this, unless I am just trying a niche build, which then I probably lose that game anyway. Chop Chop is a viable option. It is not an always pick, because you can go for a more like a Merciless Magnetism route where you shout, you toss your Jagged Blade, and you kill someone. But Chop Chop is really good, especially since like Chop Chop is on such a like Carnage in general is just on such a long cooldown that if you hit like no one out of it, like let's say they fade out or something like that, it's on an 8-second cooldown, and if you have Chop Chop, you use one, and then while the second one is generating, you can use the other one that you have. If you invest in a bunch of ability power, you can also just do a ton of damage. It also does a ton of wound damage, which means you do a lot of healing, and there is sorry, I keep burping. There's stuff like Thick Skull in order to stay alive longer. And you can do stuff like, Undying Loyalty to stay alive, and just a lot of things to do damage reduction and stuff. So it is definitely a viable pick. Soaring Stone, I want to say, is niche. Some people swear by this. They're like, if you go Chop Chop, you have to go Soaring Stone. I don't think so. I think as long as you go, like, Let's Go Win, you can shout past the enemy tank in order to get to the enemy team. Plus, if they're doing something like CC related, they're gonna stun you out of it. It doesn't matter that you're moving fast. Like they'll still be able to like, hit you. It does play a nice fantasy role where it's like you get to like jump in and swing and stuff, and it feels really good to do. But unless they do something like this is CC immune, I just don't see it being as to me it's just like a niche. But like provide like a little bit of CC immunity, and I would go for this so freaking often. Blood Craze, I do also want to say is niche. If you go Chop Chop, then I recommend you go Blood Craze. It My issue with Blood Craze is that like it's based off of maximum life, and so if you're going Blood Craze, you're going for a more survival build, and if you're going survival, then the enemy team isn't taking as much damage, which means that they're surviving longer, and it just doesn't feel as impactful. I do see it if you go for a Chop Chop completely build, but to me it's a bit niche. Bow Down, I'm gonna go ahead and say is niche. I used to swear by Bow Down, but Bow Down doesn't get you your ult faster, and in order for you to actually capitalize off of anyone you knock down, you need your teammates to like be like ready to pounce on them. Um, it is a nice surprise pick round 7 because by round 7 they're usually like not expecting you to knock everyone down. Plus, if you knock everyone down after like a little bit, you do start getting ult charge for all the damage and healing that you get off your rampage and stuff. So it is pretty cool, but like it's not helping you secure the eliminations. For me, you'll notice that a lot of the niche do not help you secure the elimination, whereas the almost picks and the viables do help you secure those eliminations. But anyway, that's my tier list. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you disagree with. Tell me if I got something wrong. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't know, whatever. And if you actually want to see one of these power builds, I do have a few videos on my YouTube channel. But feel free to ask, and I will make a full guide on like one of these builds. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching. Have a good day.